Welcome back to Learn Energy Healing. Today is going to be the first video in a series of videos I'm going to be doing about using your third eye, your internal vision, if you like, for healing purposes. If you haven't looked at some of the earlier videos that go over techniques that use your sense of touch and other techniques I've gone through, please go and watch those first, because we are going to be using our other senses. The sense of touch, for example, we developed in earlier videos to verify what you may be seeing in your mind's eye. Okay, so today is going to be quite a basic use of the internal vision, and I will go on to other methods in later videos. So please do go and look back at those. So as you can see, I'm still in Sweden, still traveling, so we're just on a yoga mat for the time being. So I make use of what I have around me, of course. So what we are going to do is something quite simple, something I played around with myself. I actually learnt to use my internal vision in healing actually before anyone taught me, or any courses I went on were just add-ons to what I already had played around myself. So I was learning hands-on healing using my hands, like I've taught in earlier videos, and I thought, do I really need my hand? And started to play around with the idea of, okay, let's imagine my hands there and see if me imagining my hands pulling out some energy or sending energy would actually change what's going on there without my hands being there. So that's how I started playing around with it. So we will do the same thing today. So we're going to start quite basic. So I'm going to use my hand, my sense of touch, and just like in earlier videos, just have a look through the aura, see what might be useful to work on. Yeah, that's an area there. You may notice she twitched as I went over that area. So that might be a nice area to work on. Okay, so we found an area that we can work on. We found some stagnant energy, some heavy energy, whatever it may be there. And that's comparative to other areas, of course. And I'm going to take my hand away, and I'm going to use my imagination to pull that energy out. So what you can do in your mind is say to yourself, okay, that energy I was feeling there, that I have a sense of now using my hands, I'm going to imagine it in my mind as a lump of red. So maybe you might like to see it as a lump of red jelly or a lump of red gas. Whatever suits you, it doesn't really matter. Just paint it, if you like, in your mind's eye. Imagine you've got a can of red spray paint, and you've intended, again, that word intend, very important, like I was saying very early on. Set your intention that this imaginary can of red paint only sticks to that particular stuckness of energy, that stagnant energy. And you can spray it in your mind's eye. Just imagine the paint sticking to that energy that you wish to work on. And that makes it a little bit clearer in your imagination what you can work on. And you can have your eyes open or closed, by the way. Some people like to have their eyes open so that they're more focused on the particular area. They can't keep the image of the person's body very still in their mind. So if that's the case, you might find it's easier to keep your eyes open and look at the area and imagine the red blob there and work on it that way. Or you might like to close your eyes, like I do a lot, and imagine their body in space and that red blob and do it that way. Eyes open, eyes closed, whichever is best for you. Try either, of course. So I'm imagining that red cloud of gas that I'm imagining in my mind, hovering over this area here, representing what I was feeling with my hand earlier. And now I'm going to imagine that my hands are there. And there's many techniques we can use, of course. So I'm just going to imagine picking up that gas and throwing it away like we were doing with our actual hands in an earlier video. So there I am, imagining my hands cupping underneath that cloud of red gas, imagining that I'm picking it all up, and I'm imagining pulling it from the body, which I'm imagining is quite slow at the moment, and then slowly drawing it out of the aura, out of the body, and throw it away. There we go. So in my imagination, that red blob has now gone. I've thrown it away in my imagination. So we have two different ways of verifying this. We can ask, did you feel anything different in that area? Was it obvious? If there was?
Not super obvious, maybe a little bit, I'm not sure.
Okay, so not obvious to my wife. So again, like I said in earlier videos, people you work on may not necessarily notice the energy you are working on. They may not be tuning into the right place or the right vibration. So it's always good to have more than one verification. So I can go back with my hand and go over that area and see, is it any different? Does it feel any different? I can definitely still feel quite a bit of energy still there, a little bit lighter. So that probably makes sense, what my wife was saying. Yeah, there's still definitely a lot there. It doesn't feel like a lot has shifted, but it is a bit different. Maybe that's why she didn't necessarily feel anything. Okay, so then I can go back. And again, imagine in my mind, my hands cupping around that energy, picking it up. And at some point I'm going to throw it away. Just my imagination is quite slow. Ooh, she felt something, obviously. She twitched there. So in my imagination, it hasn't all gone yet, but she's obviously twitched and felt something already. Okay. Now, in my mind's eye, it's gone. So that's really good that that happened, actually, because her twitching there showed that she felt something sooner than what I was imagining in my mind. So she obviously felt something before, in my mind, I had actually thrown it away. So you obviously felt something there. Does it feel lighter to you there now?
It feels lighter. I'm not sure I can feel it exactly there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
okay.
Something.
So she's felt something more obvious this time, even though it's quite vague. Okay. And again, our second level of verification is go back with our hand. Yes, there's still energy we can clear there, but it's much more obvious now that something has shifted there. Okay. So that's the first thing you can practice with learning to use your imagination to work on something. It doesn't have to be hands. It doesn't have to be hands pulling something out. It could be, for example, imagining your hands there and sending energy to it, like some of the other techniques we were doing with our real hands in earlier videos. So I could imagine my hands there, sending energy through. That's another thing you can do. Another thing you can play around with is using all sorts of different tools in your mind to change that energy there. So the wonderful thing about using your inner vision, using your imagination, is that it's limitless. There are an infinite number of ways you can imagine changing the energy here. You could, for example, imagine some violet flames or another color of flames that you believe will burn that particular energy away. You could imagine having a spade and digging it out. You could imagine a magnet, a really powerful magnet, drawing it out the body. You could imagine all sorts of different things. And yes, I have tried all these different things in the past. So let's try, in my imagination, a really powerful vacuum cleaner. A vacuum cleaner that sucks stagnant energies out of the aura. So again, I can paint that particular energy in my mind, so it's more clear in my mind. And I imagine just this huge vacuum cleaner here, able to suck that particular energy out of her body. So here we go. Vacuum cleaner, turning it on. You can make it as real as you want, you imagine sounds in your head as well, feel it vibrating maybe. And let's see if we can suck more of it out. So again, in my mind's eye, it's quite slow again. Okay. So in my mind's eye, it looked like some of it, not all of it, but it looked like some came out and got sucked into the vacuum cleaner. And again, we can ask, did you feel anything different there? No, nothing at all this time. Well, it did feel like only a little bit came, and again, I can go back with my hand. And it does feel a little bit lighter with my hand. So she didn't feel anything, it's more obvious with my hand. So whereas earlier, she didn't feel much, and I also felt it was pretty similar with my hand. It feels a bit different this time. Okay. So have a little play around with that. We will talk about how you can identify energies a little bit more in the next video, rather than feeling for them first and then using your imagination. And of course, we can delve into other ways of using your third eye, your internal vision. And of course, later on, which is a very different thing, training yourself to see through your physical eye. So that's something much further down the line I will be doing at some point. Okay, I hope you liked that video. If there's anything you'd like to ask, then leave it in the comment section, or of course you can email me. And like and subscribe if you'd like to continue supporting this channel, and I will see you in the next video.